Namaste. Welcome to Sacred Sunday Sadhana. I am so happy to be here with you right now at this moment on this beautiful earth. Let's just take a minute to ground down. And to do that, just find yourself in a position where your spine is long, eyes can be closed or just soft. Palms open and face up in surrender as you receive the energy from above. Fill your belly with breath. And see if you can extend your consciousness down into the earth below you, through whatever surface you're sitting on, through the subflooring of your building, into the earth itself. And know that as you ground down into Gaia, Gaia reaches up in support of you, creating this beautiful swirling energy, reaching up, and your own swirling energy reaching down. The two combine into this golden thread, sacred spiral. Breathe into that support below you, and at the same time feel yourself lifted and reaching into the support above you. The vast expansion and blackness of space. The stars within that space. Each star full of light. Light is just a synonym for love. Inhale, and as you ascend, as you reach up, know that that love and light is reaching down, again creating that swirling, handheld Fibonacci spiral, golden mean, beautiful conjoining of your energy and the energy above you. And see if you can hold the space of the earth below you and the sky above you at the same time, so that you feel the lifting and the dignity of your length. And just breathe into that space in your belly, in your body. When you feel ready, let your eyes come to the room. Today's sadhana will be brief. We're going to talk about nonviolent communication. And so you may have already been practicing this with other people. It's Marshall Rosenberg, if you'd like to look up NVC. The basic concepts of nonviolent communication are that we speak from what we feel, and we speak from which need of ours is not being met. So we're not blaming anyone, we're not putting our own responsibility for our own happiness on someone else. We're not taking on the responsibility of someone else's happiness. We're honoring the 4 agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz. We're honoring the magical kitchen from Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., where we are whole in and of ourselves. And we don't berate, judge, or create stories about how we feel based on what somebody else is doing to us. That takes away our own power when we try to pretend and live in this illusion that someone else is making us feel a certain way. And we don't want to make someone else, we don't want to feed into their, narrative that someone else is making them feel a certain way. So today though, I'd like to just bring the practice into our own self-talk. So there's that constant stream of talk in the mind, and in the book Mastery of Self, Don Miguel Jr. talks about 2 voices in that narrative. One is the parasite and one is the ally. So the ally is the one speaking from love and being positive and saying, it's all right, this is okay, you did your best, you made a mistake, people make mistakes, it's okay, everything's gonna be fine, you're learning, you're growing. The parasite, meanwhile, is the one that's judging hard, judging other people, judging yourself, and creating stories that are probably not true, that are not based on fact, but are instead based on emotions, feelings, and what you do with those emotions and feelings to kind of try to come to your own rescue. And there's a better way. letting that ally speak clearly and letting the parasite get quieter and quieter, or even be silent, is the goal. So in order to practice nonviolent communication with yourself, which will in turn allow you to practice this communication with everyone around you, first you figure out what it is that you are feeling in a particular moment. So yesterday I was in a situation where I was feeling ashamed. I was feeling shame. I was feeling guilt. I was feeling apologetic. And so I had to first, with myself, notice, what am I feeling? I'm feeling ashamed. I'm feeling guilty. I'm feeling like I'm hurting myself. And then at the same time I'm feeling those things, I also am feeling like I really shouldn't be feeling ashamed, shouldn't be apologizing, shouldn't be feeling guilty. And so I had this dance going on within myself of, okay, I'm working with maybe some old patterns, some parasitic patterns of speech within myself, and I'm also working with some ally patterns that are coming in and saying, no, you don't need to be sorry for that. You don't need to feel shame. Love, 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 fear, 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 fear. It's this constant dance. Well, once you can establish what you're feeling, then you can go to the next thing, which is, what need of mine is not being met right now? And in order to, I guess, identify what need is not being met in these situations, you have to do a little homework. First, you have to figure out, what are your needs? And do you remember back in school learning about Maslow's pyramid of needs, or hierarchy of needs? And there's needs, like legitimate needs that we have as humans or as cats, which are the need for food, water, shelter, and security or safety. Those are needs, those are needs for survival. But then we also have psychological needs of connection with other people and a sense of belonging. Those are needs, those are psychological needs. And then if you're following that Maslow's hierarchy pyramid, the upper layer of needs, I would say, is more like the fullest expression of your human experience. And so they're less needs and more like, if I want to be successful and I want to present the highest version of myself, then I need X, Y, Z. So there's still needs, but they're not needs on that basic level of safety, security, etc. So if you're in a situation, either with yourself or with another person, with a partner, with any relationship, if those basic needs at the bottom are not being met, that's when it's time to do the most loving thing for yourself and move on. You need to have food and shelter and safety. And then the next level, of course, is connection. And so we're kind of hanging out in the middle and top of the pyramid with this conversation today. We'll be talking about your need for connection and your need for, everybody's needs are different. So this is where you need to do some homework. Spend an hour or a day or a week and figure out, when you are expressing yourself to the fullest extent of who you are, your human potential, how is it that you want to show up in the world? How do you want to be? What's the list of qualities that you want to exude? And once you know how that is, then what is it that you need in order to express those things? For example, if I want to be open and soft and loving and strong and creative and curious, those are all things I really want to be and show up as in the world, for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my relationships. But in order for me to to behave in those ways and to really cultivate those qualities, I have some needs. I need to be seen and heard. I need to express myself. I can't be repressed or restricted in my throat and still be that person. You know, if we're talking about basic needs, I'm still being fed and clothed and sheltered, even if I'm not allowed to speak my mind or be seen and heard. So my needs, my real needs are being met, but it's these like hierarchy needs of if this, then that. If I'm going to be presenting myself in this way, I need to be seen, I need to be heard, I need to speak without being restricted. I need to be expressive. Those are needs that I particularly have. So figure out, like, what are your needs? And let's see, it was 2017 when I first really started digging into that. Like, what do I need? And once you can establish that, then it becomes really easy to be in relationship with yourself and with other people, because you're able to see, like, on a big picture level, and also just on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment, if something happens, what do I feel? Which need of mine is not being met right now? So if my ex-husband decides to blurt out to me at the end of an otherwise pleasant conversation that his father thinks badly of me, and I feel hurt and sad and struck and caught off guard, I can notice before I start saying hurtful things with my poisonous tongue, instead I just notice, what do I feel? I feel hurt. I feel deeply hurt. What need of mine is not being met right now? The need to be seen as the loving being that I am is not being met. And so then once you've established what you feel and what need is not being met, then you can move into the next step, which is a request that you might make of that other person, if it's if you're talking to someone. So if I notice that I'm deeply hurt, I'm noticing that the need that's not being met is being seen for who I truly am. And the request is that the ex-husband not say things to me that are completely unnecessary and hurtful. And then that person, my ex-husband in this scenario, can decide whether or not he wants to accept that request. And he can either accept it and not share with me information that is only hurtful that I can't do anything about, or I can choose to just not be in conversation with him. So that's a little overview of how that works. And when it comes to ourselves, I feel like there's a way that we can be a lot less guarded and a lot softer. So it's really good to practice with yourself, even though we are probably more judgmental of ourselves than we are of other people. Start practicing this within yourself so that in a situation where you're called out and you only have, half of a second to decide whether you want to have a response or a reaction, you've already got this practice in place. So let's see. Timber Hawkeye talks about how he also practices nonviolent communication. He's the Buddhist boot camp guy, but he likes to call it, instead of needs, he has a synonym because he doesn't like using the word need when it's not about food, safety, and shelter. Preferences. So if that's helpful to you, you can think of it as needs and preferences. I prefer to not be spoken to that way. That's the preference that's not being met, is a loose example of that. So I want to hand that to you, and it's pretty simple, but it's not easy. So make a list of what are your needs, and as you go through the day, just start noticing what might come up for you. I'm a very emotional person, and so I get to work with this all day, every day. And it's been really great because I've been able to respond instead of react with people that I really care about. And then not only does it make our connection stronger and it eliminates drama, but it also builds confidence within myself that I can do this. I can do this. And I'm expressing the goddess that I am instead of the ego self that I am. The cinnamon buns are done, and that means so is the video. I hope you enjoy nonviolent communication, and as always, let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know how this was for you. The light inside me sees so clearly the light inside you. Namaste.